Well, it's time to make the January batch of soap for the Soap of the Month Club. And this month we are featuring a cocoa mint soap. I can hardly wait to give this a try. So let's check it out. Hey friends, it's Barbara Sue from Kowalski Mountain and welcome back to our channel. Now I have to admit that my Soap of the Month Club idea was feeling so much better until I realized I was going to be making soap outside in the winter for several months. And so today it warmed up to about 60 degrees and I said, I'm making soap today. Now today, the soap of the month for the month of January is a cocoa mint soap. For the fragrance, it's going to feature peppermint oil, and we're going to color it with actual cocoa powder, and I can hardly wait to see how it comes out. Now right now I have the solid oils on the fire and they are melting in the double boiler. And as I told you before, I really like using the double boiler in comparison to using the microwave. It just works so much nicer and smoother and doesn't overheat the oils. Now the oil is almost melted and I've already measured out the peppermint essential oils. Now one of the things I noticed about my soap is it smells lovely when I first make it. But in a few months, the fragrance isn't nearly as pungent as I would like it to be. And so I'm trying to find ways to make that fragrance last even longer. And I read that adding kaolin clay to your fragrance oil helps with staying power in that fragrance oil. So we're going to do that today. Now the kaolin clay gets added directly to the fragrance oil. And based on the amount of soap I'm making, based on the weight of my total soap, I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons. Now I chose a white kaolin clay so that it won't change the colors of my soap. I'm not using this as a colorant, but as a fragrance holder. Now the bees really like my soap making, and as soon as I started taking out the soap making supplies, I saw my first honeybee. So I've mixed this up, and I'm going to go ahead and put a cover on top to try to dissuade the bees. Now I've already weighed out the cocoa butter, the shea butter, and the coconut oil, and that's what's melted in this pot. We still need to add the other oil. And first up, we're going to add the olive oil. We need 456 grams. Now the wind is really messing with my scale today. Next up, we're going to do the avocado oil. I'm going to do about 65 grams. The wind is really messing with me today. And now we need our castor oil. I'm going to do about 50 grams. Now if you're following along with my recipe, I did alter those a little bit just because I went over on one and over on another to try to make the oils more in correct ratio, and I know that they're a little off, so I apologize about that. All right, we're going to put that aside. Now next up is we are going to measure our sodium hydroxide. Now if you've never made cold processed soap, sodium hydroxide is a dangerous chemical. As long as you handle your sodium hydroxide safely, soap making is very safe. Now, some of the things I do, I wear a long sleeve shirt, even in the summer. I'm also going to wear my gloves. I have shoes on, long pants, and I'm also going to be wearing my goggles. Now, if you want to learn about lye safety, Brambleberry has some great videos, and I put those down in my box. That's where I learned about handling lye safely, and I highly recommend watching those videos. All right, here's my goggles. Now I'm going to tear out my scale, and I really, really wish it was not being so funky. There we go. All right, so sodium hydroxide, I need 163 grams of sodium hydroxide. I actually bought my lye in bulk. I bought about like 30 pounds of it because I'm enjoying making soap making so much, and this was a really good deal, and the shipping was kind of high on it, but even still it was a better price to buy it this way than it was the way I was buying it, so I ordered it in bulk, and I'll be sure to put a link down in the description box. Now today we're making a goat's milk soap, and whenever you make goat's milk soap you need to take some actions to protect the milk from burning, because lye is going to create a chemical reaction and cause this to heat up. The milk is already frozen. I also have an ice bath, and it's actually quite cool out here. I could probably get away without doing that, but it makes me feel good. Now we're going to add our lye just a little bit at a time, and you're going to start seeing that chemical reaction start right away. You can see that the lye is starting to melt the milk cubes. Now, if you are not lucky enough to own dairy animals to make your goat's milk soap from fresh goat's milk, you can do it the way I do, and I use powdered goat's milk. And then I just mix up what I need and freeze it for my soap making. Now, fresh goat's milk is always going to make the best goat's milk soap, but not having goats is not stopping me from getting the benefits of using goat's milk soap. Now I'm going to keep adding this just a little bit at a time. I want to check my temperature. Oh, we're super low. Because it's so cool out here, I'm going to take that out of the ice bath. I do need this to be somewhat warm to match the temperatures of the oil. This is at 46, that's going up and going down. And my oils are at 112, so that's a little bit too much of a difference. Hopefully it's going to heat up a little bit more just here in a moment. Now, if you're new to goat's milk soap, it is extremely nourishing for your skin. I have actually switched up from all of my cleansing products. I'm using only goat's milk soap, no body washes, no facial cleansers, and it's really so nice and gentle on your skin. Now, a lot of people worry about homemade soap that it has the lye in it. When done properly, saponification completely transforms the lye into soap, and it no longer has lye in it. So as long as we dissolve this lye properly, we don't have to worry about lye in our soap. It's going to be completely transformed through the magic of saponification. Okay, now we're getting there. We're at 102. The oils that are 107. I've actually never made soap with my oils and my lye mixture so close in temperature. That's perfect. I can get this dissolved and get this going. Now, when we're doing goat's milk soap, we can't see that the lye is completely melted because of the color. So we look for signs like having lye on the side of the bowl. So watch for the temperature. When the temperature stops increasing, we can be confident that the lye is completely dissolved, and we are definitely going down. Of course, it is very cool out here today. All right, now let's go ahead and start the magic of saponification. Now we are going to add our lye mixture to our oils. Now using my stick blender, I'm going to burp it. Here we go. Now I use a combination of the stick blender and the spatula. Now we're going to mix this to a light medium trace. A trace is the thickness of the soap. It's going to kind of look like a pudding. Oh no, that's not good. Now we can tell trace when the drippings from my soap start to leave lines on the top of my soap. Okay, we are getting close to medium trace. So I want to go ahead and do the next step. Now remember, we're making cocoa mint soap. So we need to add the cocoa powder. We're going to divide our soap batter. And now we're going to add 3 tablespoons to our soap. Now we're going to mix this in really good. And we're definitely going to use that mixer. Go. 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 Now I want to use my spatula to get all of that down in there. All right. Oh shoot. Now I kind of made a big mistake here. I should have added my fragrance oil before I used my mixer in the chocolate. So now I need to hand mix this fragrance, which is fine. You can definitely do it by hand, but the stick blender makes it so much more convenient. Now you notice that kale and clay separated a little bit. I should have stirred it first. My first time using it, so learning how to use it. Peppermint soap is my absolute favorite soap. So today I'm going to be using a new mold, and we're going to pour this in. And now we want to hold this up high and let it drip down into all right, now I have a knife and I'm just going to swirl it. I don't want it to just become muddy. I want it to have a swirl inside. So I think I'm going to stop right there. And there it is. Now I need to get another mold. I'm going to let that set for a minute. We're going to use these round molds today. And in case you're wondering, I did check that mold could hold all this soap, but I must miscalculated, because I definitely tried to take that into consideration. Been a very messy soap maker today. Now we still have some chocolate left. So we're just going to put a little dollop on these. And we're going to swirl those too. Now let's go ahead and shape our mold a little bit. Now I find this to be the most difficult part of soap making. This looks very easy on YouTube. It's not. And I don't want to do too much and mess up my mixture, so I'm just going to stop right there. Now something I forget all the time is I need to spray my soap lightly with some alcohol. This helps with soda ash so that it won't be as strong on the soap. Now soda ash won't hurt you, it's just not pretty. And this is a gift for my Soap of the Month Club. I want it to be gorgeous. Now we're going to go ahead and put this in the freezer, and we're going to come back in a couple days and cut it and see how we did. Well, it's been a few days since we made this cocoa mint soap, and it's time to unmold it and see how it came out. I had some extra, so I made some round molds as well. So let's start with those. Now this is really pretty. I like the two-toned. Could have swirled it a little bit better. Now I'm seeing in these, I'm seeing some little air bubbles, and that's not really surprising, especially since it's at the end and the soap mixture is getting more and more thick. This one is squished. When I put soap in my freezer, I always put it in a plastic bag, and I usually use a trash bag, but for this little mold I used a Ziploc bag, and I kind of had to squish it in there. This is the same, not a really good mix, but it's still pretty. Now let's unmold the big one. Now this is the first time I've used this mold, and this mold is a little bit more stiff than my regular molds. There we go. Okay, let's see how it came out. Now this got a little air bubble in it. Don't like that. This has a better swirl to it. This smells so good. Peppermint is my absolute favorite soap. If you remember, this is a cocoa mint, so we colored it with cocoa powder. Now this white, this is soda ash. It's not pretty, but it doesn't hurt the soap, and it doesn't hurt the person who uses the soap. It's just not pretty. Now for the really big test. Now we're going to cut the bars and see how they come out. Now last month I used a crinkle cut. This month I'm going to use a straight cut. I'm happy with this. This is my first time making a swirled soap, and that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with this swirl. So let's go ahead and get the rest of these cut. Now near the end, it wasn't swirled as well. And we got a little air pocket. But overall, really successful first time with color swirling, and I'm super happy with that. Well, thank you so much for watching the second video in the Soap of the Month Club. This is the January Soap of the Month, and I can't wait to send it to my family. As always, we appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit that button. We'd love you to be a part of the Kowalski Mountain family. We'll see you next time.